Fight!
Hey guys, FNAF22 here with our video, and in today's video we are finally here with my Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns review. So in this review we're pretty much going to go over everything you get in Chaos Reigns, which is 4 new skins if you pre-ordered, the 3 new characters, the Animality, Towers of Time, and the whole story mode. So let's just jump straight into this video. Alright, so something simple and easy I want to start this video off with is the 4 new skins you got if you pre-ordered. So we're going to go over these really quick. The first one we've got is Wedding Scorpion. Now I think this skin is alright. I'd probably give it about a 4 out of 10. Nothing spectacular, and personally I just like the base normal Scorpion we have. Then we get Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 Sub-Zero, and obviously this one has to get a 10 out of 10. All the classic UMK3 skins are amazing. Then we get Empress Melina, also from the story mode, just like Wedding Scorpion, and I give this skin probably about an 8 out of 10. This is honestly a really clean skin, and I really like the black alternate costume for it. And then finally, we get Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 Noob Saibot, and once again, this one has to get a 10 out of 10. I love this one way more than his normal costume. Next, let's go over our 3 new characters just based off of gameplay, not based off their actual story. Kicking things off with my least favorite, which was Cyrax. Now, Cyrax was actually still a really fun character, and I really like a lot of their, like, random combos and gameplay. Just, Cyrax is not really my cup of tea, just because it has, like, a lot of the bomb moveset, and I could only really figure out, like, 2 or 3 combos with her, and I just don't think it's as fun when can't hit a lot of fun combos and you have to spam the same combo. Cyrax is still a really fun character, has a lot of her classic moves with, of course, a bunch of new ones, and her weird little spinny kicks. And for, like, my middle tier, like, the character that I'm like was better than Cyrax, not the best, I have Sector, which I'm very surprised. I really thought I would like Cyrax more, but I think Sector has just more fun combos. I really like, you know, the fire combos and all the random moves that can combo into each other. It's really weird, but I like her teleport better as well, or teleport, it's really ground slam, but I think Sector just overall was a more fun character in my opinion than Cyrax. And then if you guys have been viewers of this channel for a long time, you should already know my favorite character, of course, was Noob Saibot. Noob Saibot was my main in Mortal Kombat 11, and he was one of my favorite characters in the whole series, so I knew he'd be my favorite. It's just like classic Noob. He does have a few spins on old moves, but most of his moveset is pretty much the same as all past games, except in this game he does feel a little bit slower, but it is kind of good because he doesn't feel as spammy. Next up, let's talk about a free aspect of Chaos Reigns within the Animalities. Now, Animalities are cool, short little ways to end a match, obviously little fatalities, but some of the characters turn into animals. I kind of want to do a separate video talking about Animalities, so I might not say a lot in this video, but I do think a lot of the Animalities were really cool, and a few of them were just kind of boring, like Kung Lao turning into the tiger, and Shang Tsung turning into the snake. Just some of the Animalities weren't amazing, but some of the other ones, like Johnny Cage turning into Jaws and Sindel turning into a spider, ended up looking really cool. So yeah, Animalities are a very cool feature, and they're completely free, so I think that's a super big W. Then next up, a mode that I was very excited for, we have the return of Towers of Time. Now, Towers of Time was a game mode in Mortal Kombat 11 where pretty much you could just play when you got bored, and it was a bunch of towers to unlock you new cosmetics for all your characters. Well, this version of Towers of Time is just a little bit different. Obviously, it's kind of a mix of the MK11 towers with Invasions mode for Mortal Kombat 1. Pretty much how it works is there's one tower every season that'll give you a free skin, and you have to, like, as of this season, you have to be level 30. You don't have to be, but it's harder if you're not. And then there's the character arcade ending tower. And then a really cool concept is if you pay 2,500 of these little coins that you earn from playing Invasions, you can use them to play a past tower where if you win, you get past seasonal skins, which I think is a really cool concept, because one of my biggest gripes with Mortal Kombat 11 was if you missed the Combat League, you couldn't unlock those cool skins later on. Well, now you can. The only sucky thing is with this Towers of Time, it is randomized, but I completely understand. And then besides that, there was 3 DLC character towers, and then the rest was just random towers that don't give you anything except level up your characters. I think it's a really cool idea, but I don't think it's as fun as the Towers of Time from Mortal Kombat 11. Alrighty, and let's jump into the major aspect of this video. Obviously, the Chaos Reigns story expansion, as well as some pros and cons for the story. Now, the story is all about Titan Havoc. So we finally see Havoc as the main villain, and he arrives wanting Geras for time crystals so he can mix them with the Kamidogu to take over all timelines. So pretty much, Havoc wants to take over every timeline and cause chaos within all these timelines. It's really cool to see Havoc as a main villain. The story is only about 2 or so hours long, so nothing crazy, but it is still really cool to see Havoc take the spot as the main villain. Now let's talk about a few pros and cons within the story, which will kind of give us more definition of the story. Obviously, you know, we got to start positive with some pros. The cutscenes and sound design in this game are absolutely amazing. Some cutscenes I can think of off the top of my head, like the Emperor Reign cutscene when he does get crushed to death. That scene is absolutely amazing. Like with the water effects, it looks so good. As well as the scene where Tanya is talking to that dragon creature. They just look absolutely amazing. Every time NetherRealm makes cutscenes and sound design stuff, it always turns out amazing. Next up, I think some characters got fixed, sorta, kinda. So one of my biggest gripes with the main story mode for Mortal Kombat 1 is that a lot of characters really did nothing, like Reiko, Nintara, even Sub-Zero Bihan. A lot of these characters really didn't do a lot of stuff, but I think some of these characters did get fixed, and my main two I want to talk about are Rain and Tanya. Now, obviously, these are different ones from different timelines, but we get to see a Emperor Reign and Empress Tanya in this story mode. And honestly, even though they're not from our timeline, I think it still adds depth and more perception to the characters, because in the original story mode, Tanya was nothing really but a bodyguard lackey, and Rain was just a villain that did absolutely nothing in the story mode but got beat up. I really like the chemistry they have here, and honestly, I would not mind them making Rain and Tanya a real couple in the nowadays timeline. I think that'd be really cool, because I think it does give some importance to each character. And then obviously the main character we got to talk about that got redeemed, got fixed, was Havoc. Now in the original story mode, Havoc did really nothing but got beat up. He was just a villain lackey like Reptile or Ermac used to be. But now he actually felt like a bad guy. I think the main problem I had with Havoc in the story mode, besides something I'll talk about later, was that he didn't kill anyone, and nobody really even dies in the story mode. I mean, Emperor Reign dies, but that's from a different timeline, so it doesn't matter too much. It will not impact the story going on later. Like, obviously in Liu Kang's timeline, Reign is still going to be alive, but I think it is kind of unfortunate that Havoc doesn't kill anyone, just because, you know, he's a main villain. I think that would have helped him feel a little bit better. Obviously, some random characters die, but they're all different timeline characters, so it doesn't really matter. But I still think Havoc's character was definitely redeemed. In my opinion, I think Havoc actually felt like a real main villain. For just a short story expansion, he definitely felt like he could be a main villain, just like he was in the MKX comics. Next up, speaking of redeemed characters, this one's more of just a question. Was Bihan redeemed in the Chaos Reigns story? Because in my opinion, Sub-Zero, aka the original Sub-Zero Bihan, was not that great in the Mortal Kombat 1 story. I mean, he did have a few good parts, but this story is very based on the Lin Kuei with Sector, Cyrax, and Sub-Zero. So I think Sub-Zero actually got a little bit more spotlight. It shows more of his evil side, as well as when Havoc turns him into Noob Saibot, he does come back to help them and actually defeat Havoc, but at the same time, he does end up still trying to turn on Liu Kang and still trying to battle the good guys. So I think Bihan kind of got a redemption here. Obviously, we'll have to see what they do with Noob Saibot going into the next game, because they did kind of end him on a cliffhanger where Geras just froze him and Liu Kang locked him away in a tomb. until he can be cured. So I think he will break out and come back. So we will just have to see what they do with him next. But I think Bi-Han's character actually sort of got redeemed in the Chaos Reigns story. And obviously my major pro for the story is it was actually a pretty good story overall. Now obviously it wasn't amazing, but it was only a 2-hour story expansion, so there's not a lot you can expect from something like that. But I think for what we got, it did feel a little bit rushed, but overall I think it was a pretty decent story. Alrighty guys, now let's go over the few cons I had for the Chaos Reigns story. Starting off with the fighting felt slower. I don't know if this was just me or other people can let me know in the comments down below, but the fighting during the story mode felt really slow. Like, I don't know what it really was. Just every time I would fight someone, it didn't matter who I was playing as, it just felt like the combat was moving very slow. Obviously, a big con that a lot of people have been having is that they wish it was a little bit longer, and I agree. It definitely feels like they did have to cut some corners to make this story quicken up. I mean, like, for example, I think one of the biggest shows of that would be Noob Saibot. He has that hand wrapped around his waist, and everybody thought it was going to be Smoke, and that Noob would kill Smoke, and that would cause the big, like, holy crap, this is why Scorpion doesn't like him part of the story, because he doesn't kill Scorpion's wife. But no, Noob Saibot doesn't kill anyone. That hand is just there without any explanation. You can definitely tell they had to rush it, which does kind of suck. I wish we could have just got even a half an hour more for this story. And my biggest con with the story, honestly, is that the Havoc battle was way too easy. When I went into fighting Havoc, I was hoping he would fight like a main boss, like a Shang Tsung, like a Shao Kahn, like a Shinnok. No, he was very, very easy. I almost flawlessed him in my second round just because of how easy he was, because as long as you stayed up and close with him, it was very easy to just take the W. The only way he actually kind of got challenging was if you got too far back, he would blast you with the Kami Dogu or the whatever he had in his chest. I think it was the Kami Dogu. But yeah, he just felt super easy and overall didn't feel like a final boss, even though they started to build him up like a final boss. So with all this being said, and as we know, Mortal Kombat will probably go on forever. I mean, the Mortal Kombat franchise is so popular. What's next after this Chaos Reign DLC? Well, here are a few things that I noticed throughout the story that I think we will see going either into another expansion pack or into the next Mortal Kombat game. Obviously, I think we will see the Lin Kuei Cyber Initiative, just because Liu Kang did tell Sector that now with Sector going back, she will run the Lin Kuei for now, and this story mode does show off the first look at the Cyber Initiative with Sector and Cyrax, and pretty much it looks like that now she will be going and taking over while Bi-Han is in his little tomb, and that pretty much anything that happens with the robots with the Cyber Initiative will be on Sector. So I definitely think we will see that in the next game, as well as Cyrax becoming the Grand Master. At the end of the Chaos Reigns story expansion, we do see Scorpion finally allow Cyrax to come into his life and help him continue, and he calls Cyrax the Grand Master, and that's how the story completely ends. I think maybe Scorpion and Cyrax might be making the Shirai Ryu together, which would be really cool, and it might look like that Cyrax will be the Grand Master of the Shirai Ryu. I definitely think Sector and Cyrax are returning for the next game, next story expansion, whatever it may be. A really cool thing I would like to see is Noob, aka Sub-Zero, as the next main villain. Now I know this is probably not going to happen, but I think a story, a full-length story, where we see Sub-Zero, Noob Saibot, whatever, in the Cyber Initiative kind of take over, and they're the next main villains, I would really like. I really like this story where we stepped away from the big bads and we took Havoc, who doesn't really have a big spot in the Mortal Kombat franchise as a villain, and they let him be the main villain. I would really like to see more of that, and I think a Noob Saibot main villain would be really, really cool. Obviously, you would have to do a lot to make him more evil. I think maybe even killing like Scorpion's wife and Smoke, I think would be really cool. And I definitely think if they got rid of Smoke and turned him into Cyber Smoke, Personally, like, I like Human Smoke better, but I think if they killed him and turned him into Cyber Smoke and then turned him on Scorpion, I think that'd be a really cool plot device. I would really like to see a Noob Saibot, aka Sub-Zero, main villain for the next game. But I think the most likely cause for the next game is Shao Kahn coming back as the main villain. In the story mode, they do reference that General Shao was captured after the events of Mortal Kombat 1, and that he was put into a prison in Outworld, but recently he has escaped, and now him and his troops are coming after Melina and her troops. Unfortunately, I do think General Shao is going to be the next main villain of either another expansion or more likely the next game, which does kind of suck because I did like, once again, stepping away from these villains that we always see. We always see Shao, we always see Shang Tsung, and don't get me wrong, I love those characters, but I would love a break from them as well, and I really like seeing Havoc, and I would like the next story to be more focused on other things in the universe like the Cyber Initiative and like Bihan and Scorpion, but I understand why they want Shao Kahn to return as the next main villain if he does. So yeah guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and overall I think Chaos Reigns was a pretty decent expansion. I think all the content inside of the expansion was great with the 6 new characters, even though we only have 3 now, the 4 costumes if you pre-ordered, Towers of Times, and the free animalities. I think the story mode was just kind of alright. It wasn't amazing, but I think it was good for what it was. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know in the comments down below your opinions on the Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns expansion. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Deuces.